gonna start that there. Okay, guys, a really big warm welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. We've got 50 people now. Sarah, we are live.
We're going.
Sarah just popped out, and
I just thought I'd come by and see you guys.
it just said, it just said 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 live. So it's yes. Here we are.
Hi, Daniela.
I'd love to know where everybody is coming from today. I know we've got a bunch of people in Vancouver, in Canada, which is where we're based. Where is everybody else calling in from today? Cool, we've got some people from Vancouver, Texas, London,
Vancouver,
Argentina. Why did I say this?
Madison, Wisconsin.
Are you from Madison, sir? Is that where you're from?
No, I'm from Wisconsin. I went to school in Madison. Yeah, that's great.
Cool beans.
Oh, man, we're coming in from all over the world here. Providence, Rhode Island, New York. Sheesh. That's great. Oh, while we're getting acquainted with each other here, I know a couple of you have emailed me, and you've let me know that when you're in Mighty Networks and you click around in the Digital Media Bootcamp, it shows that you've completed the lesson. And that's because it's set up like a course module. But as long as you can go back in there and access that, which I think you can, it's not a problem. I think it's just the way the settings like tick off the fact that you've seen it. So I wouldn't worry about that. We're not using that to track your progress or anything like that. So as long as you're okay with it, we're okay with it.
Yeah, and I think cool. It looks like most people I think who are going to join are joining, and it's worth saying, yeah, we're trying to use Mighty Networks. This is a new thing for us, and so yeah, please bear with us as we try and figure out how best to use it. And I think it's worth saying, actually, right at the beginning, this whole endeavor, the idea of creating a course is something that we spun up a couple of weeks ago, I guess. And we're like, hey, what can we do? And really what we're trying to do is share what I think is really our secret sauce. And we've not done this before. So this is a bit of an alpha kind of course that we're going to be running. So I hope you'll bear with us. But what we're trying to share with you is the things that we think have actually enabled us to run an online publishing business successfully and grow it really well over the past few years. So we're going to be teaching you things that I think you probably could find a lot of this information elsewhere, but we're bringing it together in a way that I hope makes sense to you. But we'd love your feedback on what works, what doesn't work. Use the chat, please, as we go. Use the Q&A to ask questions as we go along. And what we'll do is we'll periodically stop, ask questions, and give you guys a chance to feedback as well at the end. But we want this to be practical, as there needs to be some theory in there, but we're trying to make this as practical as possible. So please ask your questions and keep us accountable to making that as relevant to you as possible. But yeah, I'm going to hand over to Sarah, who made a dramatic entrance. And Sarah, you can kick us off.
Awesome. Super. Well, I'm just going to get kicking because we've got a little less than an hour and we've got a lot to cover. So I just want to dive into why we're here. So thank you so much for being here. I know it's crazy times right now, and it looks like for most of us it's like 9 a.m. on a Monday morning. So thank you for being here and for taking the time to invest in yourself, and especially in these crazy times. So this is a really great opportunity for you all, and I hope you get a lot of value out of it. As Ben said, we're open to feedback 100% of the time, all the way. The more feedback, the better. Good or bad, we can take it. So let's dive in and get started. Why are we here? So you already know that you're not alone right now. We all know somebody who's lost their job, and a lot of folks are looking at starting to work online and exploring content. So want to take a minute to show you all the opportunities that are there. They're waiting for you if you want to start working part-time or even full-time in digital content. So we went to Upwork.com, which is a popular website for freelancers to find gigs. And we searched for content writer jobs. And just in that search, we found over 4,000 positions. Here's an example of one. This company is looking for a content writer that would rewrite some of the how-to and the informational articles that are on their website already in their resources section. So this is a good starting point because the content already exists and they're just looking for someone to like refurbish the content. Here's a more generalist position. This one combines content writer position with some sales and some marketing and social media and writing blog articles. And you'll find that these general positions are really, really common. So it kind of helps to have the mishmash of skills and the ability to handle a couple different types of campaigns. And the skills we're going to learn in this course are going to be transferable across many different types of digital content. So this type of role would be a good fit. Let's go for a couple more. You'll find work where brands want you to write in a specific niche. So this one's focused around home content. So that's like furniture, gardening, interior design. And writing for a niche is a really good option for anybody out there who already has some domain knowledge. So if you think of your hobbies, I know a lot of you folks said that you like photography. We've got a couple painters, yoga fanatics. Yeah, so if you have those hobbies where you already have domain knowledge, that's a really good choice. Here's another niche project. This one's looking for an article or content writer that can write about medical devices. So this would involve much more research. It's great for somebody who likes to dig through stats and more formal documents, but generally the more specialized you get, the better the jobs pay. And this one would be fun. This is a thought leadership position. So this is someone looking to develop some content that it looks like they'll share on their posts on LinkedIn. So they're focused on topics like wellness and mental health, which are usually pretty fun to write about. And then once you develop a little bit more experience, you could go for something a little bit more strategic like this. This company is looking for a content marketing strategy manager. So this person would be responsible for managing the overall content strategy. So this is like something you could work up to. So there's tons of opportunities. So you can work for a brand, you can work for an individual, creative or a content agency. You could work for yourself and start a side hustle. And so if you look at jobs that include just the word content in the job description, just on Upwork, you'll find over 16,000 results. So if you feel like doing research, I'd recommend with starting some of the keywords listed here, like content writer. You could look at for blog content, article writing, SEO writer, content manager, and so on. And you'll have a copy of these slides. So if you feel like using this as a reference to do your research, that'll be there for you. So there's 16,000 jobs out there. That's just on one platform. And it makes you wonder, why is content in such demand? And it's because content is a reliable way for you to reach an audience, and that helps you grow your business. So content works reliably because in large numbers, people are predictable. This is the law of large numbers. And it states that even though a single random event might be just completely unpredictable, a collection of independent random events is extremely predictable. And the larger the number of events, the more predictable they become. So the web has a huge number of events that we can draw from to understand what people are searching for and consuming, because every time someone enters a search query in Google, it's recorded somewhere. So you know Instant Pots? That was like a total sensation a few years ago. I have one. I enjoy it. I have successfully made rice now, which is great, finally. Anyways, do you have one, Ben?
Yeah, I do have one. I think when I bought the Instapot, I thought I was going to use it a lot. Actually, I don't, but my wife does, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
We actually had roast beef in it last night. There you go.
Wonderful. Well, there's a positive review if anybody's interested. But
here's our affiliate link.
Yeah. When Instant Pots came out, it was like this total internet televised sensation. So you'd expect to see the Google Trends graph here with the blue line showing Instant Pot's like just spiking up in this big swerve, but it doesn't. Like if you look at the blue line, it's just kind of this regular, predictable, slowly growing number of searches for Instant Pot, which makes sense because our population is slowly growing, you know? And in fact, people look at Instant Pot about as consistently as they search for just good old KitchenAid, which is that red line that's just moving up slightly there at the bottom. So for contrast, we can look at toilet paper, which is the yellow line. And there was, as you'd guess, a big spike in searches while everyone was just obsessed with the panic buying situation recently. But it's pretty easy to see that that's a one-time event. It's extenuating circumstances, and the line is just heading straight back down to where it came from. And that's like a weird one-time thing that's very hard to anticipate. But most things are not like that one-time spike with toilet paper searches. They are like Instant Pot and KitchenAid. They're consistent and they're predictable in large numbers over time. Like most things are strangely predictable. And that means that overall, we can understand at scale what people want or like. And then we leverage that to make content to cater to those needs. And when we can do that, and we can also serve our own strategy as a business, we're in business. And it's a pretty sustainable business. So business for you might mean like the side hustle as a copywriter or joining a digital agency or something else. I'm part of a team whose business model is centered around producing content for niche audiences. So long story short, we nurture communities of people and we develop high quality content like articles and videos and podcasts and workshops that people get value out of. And we've seen that really work. Not only has the revenue increased tenfold over the past 3 years, the content that we create has an actual impact on people's lives. We research what people are looking for and what they need, so we're able to produce things that they really, really like. One example is the DPM School. So it's an online training course that we've made, and it helps people move forward in their careers by helping them learn skills to manage digital projects. And this is a post from somebody who's completed the course and now has this certificate and sense of achievement and new skills to move forward in their career. And then every once in a while, we get some awesome feedback like this, and it just shows that we're not just making money. Content's not just a revenue, cow for us. The content we produce has the ability to make a real impact on people's lives. And we always think of that. We always come back to that purpose of that content because that's why it exists. So basically, we're going to walk you through how we do that. And we'll show you how we research, how we plan for and produce content that meets your audience's needs, as well as your own, or perhaps your clients if you start freelancing. So there's lots of courses out there, as Ben said, that cover the high-level versions of this, but there's lots of stuff out there that says like, oh, want to learn how to blog? First, write a catchy headline. Then do your research. And you're like, okay, that got me nowhere. I actually don't know what that means in practice. How do I know if I'm even doing a good job? So we're going to give you folks as much hands-on practice as we can with examples and guidance to help you actually apply the techniques that you'll learn. So today, we're going to get started. Okay, we're going to focus on the content types, the purpose of content, and the roles and the tools involved. And then in the next session, we're going to go over strategy and plan. So you'll learn how and why to set goals and how to align them with your business strategy and then map that content out on a plan for the future. And then you'll start actually developing just one piece of content from your plan. You'll learn how to research it and define it. And that requires finding good topics and keywords, giving your content this unique angle and a good structure. In the fourth section, we're going to work on optimizing your content. So you're going to learn a bit of SEO and some UX best practices that'll make your content engaging and discoverable and valuable. So if you're totally new to SEO and UX, don't worry about those terms right now because we're going to cover that. And after you make your content, you're going to learn how to deliver and promote it. So you'll learn how to actually publish it on WordPress, and you'll get tips for promoting your content through a couple of different methods. And then finally, you're going to see how to track and upgrade content. And this helps you see if your content is actually serving its purpose or not. And then you can plan ways that you can enhance and increase its benefit to both you and your readers. So that is what we will do. And this is who we are. So you folks know me. I'm Sarah. I work in content strategy, and I'm with an independent digital media company, which is called Black and White Zebra. And my role involves things like researching topics, briefing writers, writing copy for the website, making scripts and articles, and in general, analyzing how content performs. And I work alongside a team of content creators and designers, marketers, salespeople, who together we develop and manage this portfolio of digital brands. And just a bit about my background. I know I've read quite a bit about you folks, and sounding like we have quite a lot in common. We're all kind of these generalist, artsy people with lots of different talents, which is great. My background's in language and education and nonprofit leadership, but I started off in digital in 2013, just doing freelance content writing. And then I built that up as a side hustle while I was teaching. And I also ran a handmade business online. I ran that until this year, and I kind of felt I'd learned all I wanted to from it, and I retired that business. And just on a personal note, my current obsession, butter. You know what they say? They're like, don't say who you are based on what you like say it based on what you do. And I'm like, man, based on what I do, butter. 3 sticks in my fridge. I can't get enough of it. Salted, unsalted, big blocks. Can't get enough. I'll hand it over to Ben.
That's a beautiful thing. I put my current obsession cutting my own hair because I don't know what everyone thinks about my haircut, but I cut it together with my 7-year-old daughter last night, and it's a work in progress. But we're just working on refining the look. I thought I had one of those trimmer things, and turns out I must have thrown it away a while ago. Because when I agreed for my 7-year-old daughter that she could cut my hair, I thought, well, she can't go wrong with that. And then it turns out that the first thing she wanted to do was cut my fringe, or cut my bangs, as she called it. So, yeah, that's why we're looking like I am today. But yeah, just a bit about me. I'm the founder of Black and White Zebra. And why our company is called Black and White Zebra, there isn't really a good reason. It was just a name that I made up a few years ago. But yeah, our mission really is to help people and organizations succeed. And we do that through content with purpose. And Sarah's been talking a bit about content with purpose. It's content that does something, and it does something because it matches what people are looking for. It's not really rocket science, but I think so often we think we should create content that's based around our passions, which is great. But if your passions don't align with what other people are passionate about or looking for, then no one will ever find it. And we showed you that graph of how our kind of actual revenue increased massively over time as we started actually creating content that matched what people were looking for. And it meant that I was able to leave my job. So I was working full-time in a digital agency. And back in 2018, I retired from that to work on Black and White Zebra full-time. Sarah came on board along with a bunch of other people since then. So yeah, my background was really, I've been making websites since I was 12 or 13, back in the days of Windows 95 and like early Internet Explorer. And I've been having fun building communities online. My first venture was a online satirical newspaper called Such Times. And you can find that on Wayback Machine if you want to. But then I created Facebook before its time. My personal website, benaston.com, featured profiles of my friends, photos of them. It was kind of creepy, but it was at the time back in the early 90s. That was cool. And we had a message board. So anyway, I've been creating websites for a long time. So then thought, okay, I'll go to university to do computer science, but spent a year in industry creating websites and discovered that just sitting in front of a screen creating websites was too boring. So then I pivoted to advertising and marketing. And so I spent 10 years of my career in London in the UK, different advertising and marketing agencies, and then moved to Canada, did the same thing here. And like I said, retired from that a few years ago to focus on my real passion, which is helping people succeed, helping organizations succeed. And we do that through these thought leadership platforms that Sarah was talking about. So one of those is called the digitalprojectmanager.com, and that's been our main source of revenue and our main project for the past few years. And just last year, we started then building out new niche networks. One of them is called People Managing People.com. We're going to show you a few of them on the course. But we're building these niche networks, and really the idea of them is to help people succeed in careers that maybe are not particularly sexy, or careers that aren't, where there's not really a textbook that's being created. And together we're writing this playbook with the community to help people advance in their careers and in their roles. So that's me. Really happy that everyone is here. Thank you so much for being part of this and joining us on this journey.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Ben. We kind of already covered this. Moving on from that, we sort of covered this. Like, where are you from?
Yeah, I thought we could ask a different question. I think because in this intro, obviously, we've gone through what the course is about. Obviously, when you guys all signed up for this course, it was kind of vague. There was a page, a couple of paragraphs. I'd love to know in the chat, is this what you're expecting? And is this process that we talked through, is it something that is new, or is this kind of old hat to you? So is this what you're expecting? Is it not? What were you expecting? Please put it in the chat and let us know if that content that we just went through, we just gave you an outline of what we're going to go through over the next 6 sessions. I'll be honest, we haven't actually created the other sessions yet. So now is a great time for us to pivot. If you guys all say, thanks guys, but that's not very helpful. What I really want to know is something else. So cool, Dale's saying, yes, that's what I was expecting. I'm hoping to learn something new. Thanks, George. Anyone else got any comments? Please let us know what you think. Cool, yeah, new tools. We're going to be talking, I love tools. I'm constantly signing up for new tools. So we are going to talk about tools. The great thing is there's always new tools appearing on the market. It's cool, yeah, opportunities for freelance, creative, independent ventures.
It's great.
Great. I think one of the things, Sarah's been talking as well about how there is stacks of opportunity. If you've lost your job due to coronavirus, which is really why we created this course in the first place. This course really is to help people find work. But even if you think, hey, I'm not confident enough yet to actually try and find work as a content writer, and we're going to help you get confident in doing this. I think there is a lot of value in pursuing a passion project, a side project, where you leverage these things and write about something that you're passionate about, because down the line, you might be able to turn that into a business. And that's exactly what I did with the Digital Project Manager. I started it in 2011 or 2012. For a few years, it was just a side passion project. And then I realized I could make money from it. And yeah, less than 10 years later, it's turned into a business where we have 11 employees. So it's pretty cool that a side passion project can turn into something bigger if you just have the tenacity to keep pursuing it.
There's also a request from Leela that you have a section on cutting your own hair.
Yeah, I guess I could do a little guide. I haven't figured out yet how to cut the back. That's the main problem.
Oh,
also,
nice.
I'm in the mirror trying to get the scissors at the right angle. I find that really hard. Maybe it's my dyslexia or something.
Okay, cool. It's sounding like a lot of people are, you feel like you're kind of in the right place. I hope you are.
Cool.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay, that's great. So if you're not comfortable, putting it on the chat, feel free to drop us a note, email anytime. We can chat, figure things out. Just before we dive into the actual like content part of this session, just a little bit of housekeeping. The course is interactive, so whenever you see that pink screen that we just saw, that's going to be like our question time, and we'll be polling, answering questions, highlighting some of your work as we move through. So I challenge you to really make this class your time when you're not allowing distractions into your precious focused time. So I know it's hard, but like closing the other tabs and just like trying to lock in. It's really important. Also, just engage with us and with others in the sessions. I know there's definitely fear of not knowing stuff in front of other people, but trust me, in digital media, you are never an expert. Just the field, it moves way too fast, and nobody can actually claim that title. Like, I mean, I had to call my coworker Hannah twice to get your email addresses added to the correct list in the email tool that we use. So really, like, I've been doing this for years. Okay, no question is dumb. Actually, the very basic questions are usually like the important ones that we miss. So it's really important to ask, even if it feels basic, ask it. So this is just going to be as good as your participation in the course. So do the digital equivalent of raising your hand. I don't know if there's a raise hand button on this thing, but you can always just type in the chat.
Yeah, type in the chat and use the Q&A as well. Oh, there we go. People are raising their hand. Thanks, guys.
I don't know what to do with that. What happens if I click on it? Oh gosh, I don't know. I can't do it. Okay, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything. Anyways, bottom right corner. Oh yeah, there you go. There you go, everybody. Whenever you feel like it, just raise your hand. I don't know what we're going to do, guys. I think there's also a way for us to unmute you. So we'll call up people. If you're comfortable like sharing like your video and your audio, I think I have that set up, right? So just know that that's a thing. So yes, please engage with us. If we get boring, just comment in the chat, because Ben said that he'll do a little stunt every time that happens.
Yeah.
He actually didn't. I wrote that. He did not agree to it. So. And finally, take advantage of Mighty Networks activities. That's the space where we're going to try to be sharing files, giving feedback, helping you engage with each other on your work, getting downloads and all that. I wanted to open it up for you, but I think their proxy server is down this morning, so we're just going to have to skip it. So for today, I'm going to make sure that I send you all an email with these resources, just in case you can't get into Mighty Networks. Good? Good. Any questions or comments on the housekeeping stuff before we move forward? I think we do have homework. There will be homework. Yep, at every session, there's going to be some homework. I'd say to budget between, in the first bit, it's going to be like an hour, maybe 2 hours. And then once you're actually producing your content, it kind of just depends on how much you're willing to put into it. If you want to make something great, I'd say budget for 8 to 10 hours to put something together. But we're going to have that main homework over the weekend. So we planned it so that you would have a couple extra days to fit that in, and kind of, it's a little bit more creative, so it's kind of nice to have your own time to be creative in the time frame that you want to be creative in. So yeah, that's homework.
Cool. Let's keep rolling.
Let's roll. Let's roll. Get started with digital content. Let's dive in and learn what happens if we miss a class. Go back. If you miss a class, all the video contents, we're recording this right now. So we're going to upload it to a link to Mighty Networks, and you'll be able to watch this. You should definitely watch it within like as soon as possible so that you can stay caught up for, this is Monday. So you want to watch this on at least Tuesday so that you're caught up for Wednesday's session. we're going to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Thank you for asking that. All right. Let's do this, peeps. For the next 30 minutes, we're going to discuss the power of content and the impact. We're going to look at a real content process. So we're going to actually lift the hood on our actual files at work and show you what we're doing. It'll help you get a little bit more context for the landscape of content work. We're going to also look at some roles and go over the skills that we think are really useful for you to develop and have. And then we'll just do a quick check on the tools. The setting up of tools is actually the homework, so we'll just kind of breeze through that and then give you folks a handout and send you on your way to go explore the wild world of digital tools. Okay. Behold the power of content. So honestly, being real, this is how I feel right now. I'm like, hey everybody, this is content. This is easy. You should try it. And it's not. Digital media is new, it's rapidly evolving, and it's wild. So it's hard to define. So take everything with a grain of salt. We're just gonna try.
I think the other thing, Sarah, to just say that go back on that point is it's rapidly evolving. So the other thing to say is that it's kind of like jumping into a river. Once you're in, it's easier to kind of keep up with the river, but things are changing and evolving. So like SEO is constantly evolving and changing, and there is no one right way of doing things. So we're going to show you our exact process and show you what we're doing right now, which has evolved over the past couple of years and will continue to evolve. It's a moving feast. There's no one right way to do it. So don't get too hung up on all the details, but more kind of immerse yourself in the world. And once you're kind of jumped into that river, you can kind of go with the flow a bit better.
Yeah, true that. Yeah. So just trying to we're jumped into the river and we're just trying to figure out what is this water that I'm in? We're just trying to get a little bit more concrete about what content is. And I think it's because we're tempted to oversimplify the answer. And I know you've experienced something like this. If it's not content, it's something else. It's like, just make some content for my website, or I don't know, just write an article, just post something on social media, some content. And then you fizzle out and nothing really happens, or you're not really sure if you achieved it, because content is not a thing. It's a lot of things put together. So this isn't the end all be all of content, but this graphic from eConsultancy is really useful for thinking about content. And it just illustrates how content breaks down into elements. So some important takeaways from this, I've circled some of the categories up at the top there that we can use to break down content into its components. One important element in the yellow is the strategy. That governs it all. The strategy is part of your content. And then another element is the format. So that's the medium. You could say it's a video, it's a blog post, it's an app, it's a game. And then there's a type of content. It's kind of the nature of it. Is it a quiz? Is it an expert interview? Is it a case study? Is it a survey? And then finally, the content has to be somewhere. And the content needs a platform like a website or a forum site or a social media account. It needs somewhere to live. And that's really all the detail that we're going to cover here. If you'd like to take a peek at this yourselves, I've got a link to this if anybody wants to check it out. So I'll just copy paste it real quick. Yeah, send that to you folks. So
I think it's worth saying that this periodic table, I think it's a really cool graphic. Why it's in a periodic table, I mean, there is no real reason. No. But it is a bit out of date now. Yeah. But in terms of, I think what's really helpful is thinking about content in this context. Yeah. That there's different things that make up content marketing, and this is a good kind of breakdown of that. The actual execution of it, there's lots of things missing. This is a few years old now, maybe even 5-10 years old. I don't know how old it is, but it's old, but it's useful.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I love Eric. Sometimes there are long rant ideas for Instagram posts. People will write. I love those. I get sucked in. Yeah. Anyways, have a look at this in your free time, and yeah, it's kind of interesting to break it down in this way. It kind of helps you think of content in different ways. So one reason we're not going to spend a ton of time trying to break it down is that the content types and formats and platforms, they're often just sort of this package deal. And we blend them together without even thinking. Like if you want to make a how-to blog article, that already tells you, the type of content, it tells you the format and the platform. And like same goes for a YouTube video tutorial or an interview podcast. So often the platform you're using might dictate the content or vice versa. Like on YouTube, a video works best. So, excuse me, the lines are kind of blurry. But the good news is, regardless of the type, format, or platform, you can apply the same fundamental principles to make great content. And that's what we're going to focus on here. You could make any content, but we're going to make blog posts, and videos, and social media campaigns. That's really exciting. But blog posts, they're also kind of exciting, and they're a great starting point, because even if you're not particularly interested in article writing, they have a lot to give you in terms of being able to teach you the fundamentals. So here's some reasons why we're going to focus on blog posts. The skills you'll learn are really transferable to other formats. So they'll help you, like if you're planning a video or a web page or more. And you'll use a lot of the same tools. And even if the tools aren't exactly the same, all the tools have kind of similar functions. So you can kind of get the layout and intuitively know where stuff is. And you can also replicate the principles in other formats. Yep. So the process you'll walk through is this kind of fundamental production process that you can apply to plenty of other projects. There's also a really low barrier to entry with blog posts because it's accessible and it's also inexpensive. And finally, blog posts are measurable and effective. There's really proven tools to understand how a blog post is performing. And it's really gratifying to be able to see the connection between your effort and the improvement on a blog post performance. So it's just a really valuable teaching tool. So that's why we'll be doing it. Even if you don't consider yourself much of a writer, it's still a really great place to start. So question time. I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever written a blog post? So I would like to call on somebody and like actually make you talk and kind of have you chat a bit about how it went and why you did it. Or maybe you didn't finish it. I don't know. What happened as a result of making it? What did you learn? If anybody's willing to share, put it
Somebody
in the
must have done.
I wonder how to make people. Oh, Sinduri, let's have it. How do I?
Sarah.
Do you know how I make
it?
Do you know how I make someone share? Or do you have to, maybe you folks have to like
let me try. I'm gonna try to see if we can get
art gallery. Oh, but I never finished it. Nice.
I'm gonna try Sarah. Oh, here we go. I'm making Sarah a presenter temporarily.
Let's see it.
Does this work? Sarah, are you here?
Oh my gosh, everybody has a blog.
Boom. I don't know, Sarah. I tried making you a presenter, and I was hoping you'd just magically appear, but clearly.
Oh, I see. In presenters.
Yeah.
I don't know. I made the thingy so that people could share audio and video, but maybe people have to opt into that. Oh no.
Oh well. Well. Oh yes.
Yeah, you have to opt in.
She's
you have to like
here.
turn. Oh, I was not prepared to have people looking at me in the morning.
You look great. Don't worry.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I I was on Fiverr, so I dabbled in that, requesting things and then having people request from me. And I was paid to write a post on plantar fasciitis because I am a foot orthotist, so I make custom foot orthotics and stuff. And yeah, he was quite impressed. He really enjoyed it. Some other posts I wrote were for some websites that I developed on health, so fun non-alcoholic drinks, and actually got some comments. The non-alcoholic drink one was more comments on why would you drink a non-alcoholic drink. So you get some feedback that you would never expect, but it's always good to get feedback. So yeah, I wrote some different things on that.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. Thanks for popping in, Sarah.
Yeah.
I'm going to add someone else because that was fun.
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't know how to. Okay, I'm going to try Nicole. Nicole? Different type. Hopefully, I think, Nicole, you have to. Yeah, it says click the top video. See if this works. Guys, just be ready for next time. It could be you.
There's no
It could be you.
or reason. We just like.
We're looking forward to talking to Nicole from the United States. It says refresh attendees browser. I'm going to see what happens. As I said, this is our first time trying to do this in Mighty Networks. So not Mighty Networks, Big Marker, which is the platform we're using. Here we go. Oh, we got Janie Lim.
There we go.
Don't know how that happened, but hi.
Hi. Oh, wow. Okay. I guess I just turned it on and then I. Okay. So yes, I tried to write a blog about 15 years ago when I was an online poker professional, and I thought that was cool. And I just would start. It was so exciting, but then I never really had that strategy or like a focal point or what I was trying to convey, other than the cool things that were happening in my life, and I didn't know that that was valuable. And since then, I've done like so many incredible things, and it really is my only regret that I haven't captured it. And so I wanted to. Well, I didn't have an audience also,
Yeah.
so like I didn't know where I was going to go. I was just doing it for myself, and then it just without that overarching why, it's easy to drop off.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I'm really appreciative that you guys are doing this. This is amazing. I'm really excited.
Maybe you'll make the blog that never was.
Yeah.
The blog that never came to be.
Okay. So I don't know. Do I turn this off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the easiest way. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Boom.
Do you want more, Ben?
No, that's good for now.
It's funny. I have a similar experience too. Nicole. No, it wasn't Nicole. Who just came out?
Yeah. I tried adding Nicole, I think people can actually just start talking by
Geraldine. Yeah. I think people can opt in. I think all the attendees can like click, share video and stuff like that. So now we know. I have a similar experience. I wrote a blog post, I think it was my first one, about how much I loved having my like old dumb phone, because I didn't have a smartphone until recently. And I thought this blog post was super clever and like really entertaining. It really wasn't. I mean, the writing was okay, but I didn't do anything with it. Like the process was just write the post, publish it, and then wonder why nothing was happening. And if content was supposed to be so great, like why was it not doing the thing? And that's the lack of why was probably a big point in there. But just on this topic, thinking about this, you've probably heard this phrase, content is king. It was really popular to say a couple of years ago in the content marketing world. It was like any brand needs content marketing because content is king for your business. And then we decided actually content isn't king. Perhaps context is king. So we got onto that for a while. But the main point here is that content must serve a purpose. So content even in and of itself is nothing without results. When I wrote my first blog post, all I did was just publish a bunch of text on a web page. Like really, that's what I did. I had no idea what audience I was trying to reach. I definitely had no idea what I wanted them to do, or once they read it, you know, so nothing happened. And the question becomes, what do you want out of your content? What purpose does it serve? So when we make content, it's really easy to get wrapped up in metrics, which we do all the time. It's so tempting, but that's not purpose. Vanity metrics are metrics that feel great to look at, but they don't actually tell us much about what content is actually doing. Vanity metrics are like views and visits on your page, follows, shares, likes that happens on social media, minutes watched of a YouTube video, comments on it, or just generally like feeling clever about it. That was my vanity metric. But we don't make stuff in order to make stuff that hits these vanity metrics. We make stuff to make things happen in the real world. So this is a core concept that will influence everything we do in the bootcamp. Good content is about action. It's about causing people to think, to feel, or to do something. So when you write a blog post like the one I wrote about liking my phone with no goal and no idea what my audience was interested in, and seriously nothing valuable for them, you get a flatline result. This, on the other hand, is what happens when you make content with a clear purpose that inspires action. So as long as you're creating content that generates action, you could have any number of business strategies layered on top of that, and you'll see some positive results. So what is this action that we're talking about? What are some clear examples of, purpose? It's just really the reason why someone would read, listen to, or watch your content. So that tells you a lot about its purpose. It could be that it provided much needed insight or resource for them, helped them make or do something. It answered a question they have. It made them feel heard or connected or understood, entertains them. It changed their mind. It helped them make a decision. There's tons of other purposes that your content can have, but these are some of the most common examples. So yeah, that's it's really easier said than done. So we're just going to dig into how we do it, and we'll actually lift the hood on our content process. I wonder, are there any questions in the chat here? I'm seeing a lot. No. Okay, cool. I'll let you folks carry on. I'm just going to lift the hood on our content process here so you can get an idea of how we do it. We've condensed the steps to logistically fit the time frame. So when you go through the process, you're going to do it in the these sessions of research and define, optimize, make it great, and so on. You can slice and dice it however you want, but the main idea that we're going to walk through is that you strategize, you make something, you get it into the world, and then you keep checking it and making sure that it's doing what you wanted it to do, and you maintain and you upgrade it over time. So let's really dig in. Let's get practical with this situation here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have this process here on the screen, and then I'm going to go into a bunch of our files. Let me just get this out of full screen. That made it kind of look weird, huh? There we go. All right, I'm going to leave that on the left for you folks, and then I'm going to bring up a bunch of our stuff here on the right, walk through it. So this is a content process for a blog post, and how we would typically build that out. So first, I research topics and keywords. Now, I'm going to pretend that I'm going to write a post for our website called the CX Lead. This is a website that's for customer experience professionals. And let's say that I want a post that is going to reach out to people who are interested in digital customer experience. So I probably just couldn't pull that out of thin air. I'd have to do quite a bit of research to get to that point. But let's pretend I've already done the research. We'll show you all how to do this. This is part of Friday's bootcamp. So let's say I've typed in digital customer experience into this tool. This is a keyword research tool. It's called Moz, and we'll be using it in the course because they have a free trial. So let's say I've typed it in to the tool, and I found all this information here about this keyword and about how people are searching for it. And I decide, okay, yeah, this is one that I want to use. So I go in, step number 2, I make a content plan. So this is an example of our actual content plan. This is our live content document that we use. Here in this document, it's just a spreadsheet. We've got everything we need to know about the content in progress, or the content that we like to make, or the content that's published. So right here, I've added digital customer experience to my sheet, and I've written all the information about it, showing some interesting stats about what we can expect out of a post that would rank for that keyword, and just a little information about, its status, when we might publish it, the title. You're going to have a copy of this template to use, so you'll get more acquainted with this content plan as we move forward. But basically, at this stage, I have to, there's a pink circle here, or pink flag or whatever in the review. We definitely need to be reviewing this, because this is a checkpoint for us to decide, compared to everything else that we're planning on doing, is this still something that I want to move forward with? Do I want to make this article or not? So there's definitely a review step here. And I might even review this with a colleague or something to kind of sanity check myself and make sure that we're committing to the right stuff. So once I decide to move forward, I create a brief. Let's pop up here. Here's an example of a brief. It's on a Word document. Basically in this brief, do the research. So I lay out exactly what to cover in the article. I talk about, the positioning of the article, the angle of the article, what's the keyword that we're going to try to target, what other keywords or headings or maybe frequently asked questions can we work in. I'll indicate if there's any kind of resources I found, like cool graphics or interesting research studies that someone could use to build out this piece. And I give an idea for what this outline is going to look like based on all of that keyword research. At that point, we write, so let's pretend magically we've written it. There it is. The article is now magically complete, and it goes through a process of proofing. So this isn't just proofreading, it's also, we're on stage 5 now. It's not just proofreading, it's enriching it for the user experience. That might be adding graphics, adding captions, adding quotes. It might be adding better links to studies, making it more user-friendly. It could be also finessing the on-page SEO. So this would be more focused on things like making sure that headings have the right keywords in them, making sure that when a keyword appears, it's contextualized, stuff like that. And we'll finally add some of the meta info that we need to publish. Meta info is things that aren't in the article, but we need to describe, to add the information in order to publish it online, like the meta description, if you're familiar with that, or the slug, stuff like that. We'll go through it. At that point, I really wanted to show you this scheme here that we use for managing our posts. So this is our actual master publishing board. Each card on here is a piece of content that we have in the pipeline at some point. And so what we do is we basically, create columns here for the stage that the project is at. And then as the piece of content moves through our process, it goes through these columns, and it helps us all collaborate on it and make sure that files are getting uploaded. And people, if we need a graphic, we put it in the design column and our designer works on it. And so this is the tool we use to manage that, process all the way through. And it's really useful because there's so much reviewing. It helps you pass the piece of content through these review cycles pretty visibly for everybody to understand where it's at. So you can see here, it's quite long. At this point, we're at the proofing stage, and we need to actually get the post loaded into WordPress. So at that point, I will pop into WordPress. Here we go. Here's the article. It's been formatted. It's been added as a blog post in WordPress. And you can see we've done things like hyperlink the text. We've created headings that are larger text here. We've added at the bottom a little quote here. We've also added a call to action, sign up for our newsletter. So people that read the post have that opportunity to join our mailing list. So little things like that. Once it's loaded up, we hit publish, boom, it's already published. And we start promoting it. So, so promoting it might mean sharing it on social media. It might mean sending it out to your email list. There are a bazillion ways to promote things, which we'll cover in the course. Then we generate some backlinks for it. And I think backlinking is a process that not a lot of people are familiar with until you really get into digital content. But basically backlinking is making sure that other websites know that your content exists and link to it. Now, when they link to your content, that's sort of treated like a vote from that website. It shows search engines that your content is relevant or authoritative or valuable because someone else is kind of, vetting you. So building a link to that post makes a lot of sense. And you can do that through many different techniques. But a very basic example would be, I email somebody that has a CX website and I ask them, hey, do you know I have this content? It's really relevant to what you write about. Would you mind linking to it? So an exchange like that is common. And then finally, once I've promoted, published, I've got some backlinks, about a month later, you can start checking to make sure that your content is doing what it's supposed to do. So I'm going to check my content here in the stats in WordPress, and I just kind of see what's going on with it. Here it is. It's really fresh and new. Oops. That went to the post. It's really fresh and new. So right now you can see it only has 6 views because we've just published this piece. So right now there's not enough information for me to tell anything valuable about what's going on with it. But this just is a way to illustrate the types of tools that we use to check on the post and decide if we need to improve it. Maybe we need to add a graphic or a chart or a section or something like that to help it improve its performance and be more useful. So that's really the process. I'm going to minimize this. Bring back our full screen. Yeah. Do you have anything you want to add on to that, Ben?
Yeah, no, I know there's been some people saying, hey, can you zoom in? We can't see what you're doing. But yeah, just to say that we're going to go through, we just wanted to give you that high level process and explain how you get from that original strategy, defining what you're going to write about, creating the content, improving it, and then publishing it, promoting it. We just wanted to show you big picture what's going to happen. And actually what we're going to go through in this bootcamp is the steps in more detail for each one of those parts. So yeah, don't worry too much about the detail. Just think about this in terms of we're creating a strategy and making sure that we're writing about the right things. And then we're kind of iterating on it throughout the process. And we're going to deep dive into that as we go through this.
Yeah, and there will be a session on how to optimize content. Yeah, in detail. That'll be Monday. Next Monday, we're going to do that. And Alice asked, how long does it usually take? We budget generally 8 weeks because we really do up our content. We work with, a graphics team and all that. It really depends on how quality takes time, right? So it really depends on.
It also depends how many people are involved. So it could be that you could easily go through that entire process in a day by yourself. You could for sure do that. What takes us longer is the fact that we're writing probably longer articles that are 1,500 word plus posts, which is good for search engine optimization. But we're often collaborating with other people to create those. We're creating content and then getting quotes or getting graphics done. So for us, the whole process can be really quite lengthy, and that's fine because we're not in any particular rush. But this is certainly something you can expedite if it is just you on your own. Also, yeah, someone's saying, are you just using WordPress? like WordPress is the platform we use to publish our content, but we could just as well have been doing this on any content management system, like whether or not that's Squarespace or Contico or anything else. So the platform isn't that important that we're using to publish it on, other than I think WordPress is great for publishing content on.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, it takes 3 posts a week. Yeah, it's a grind.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, you could create 3 posts per week. I think the question we need to ask, and we'll go through this more in detail, is like, hey, if we're publishing 3 posts a week, are we going to be able to get 3 posts that rank and that get traffic and do what we need them to do? Like, are they going to perform? And not just in terms of, as we talked about, not just these vanity metrics of getting views, but are we going to get people to sign up to something? Are they going to buy something? Like, what's the point of writing 3 posts a week? Why not spend more time writing better posts that rank and that perform?
Yeah. Oh, is it all right? I'm just going to quick check on the time here. Is it all right with you folks? If you need to go, I understand, but it looks like we've got some questions and we've still got some stuff to cover. So we're going to plan to go for another like 15 minutes if you're able to stick around. Tips for writing about a topic you don't know a lot about. Yeah, the keyword research tools we're going to look at will help you a lot. They help you, if I don't know anything about like I don't know anything about car mechanics, I could use a keyword research tool to help me understand like any related topics to that or commonly asked questions, or like they can find semantically related words. So that's a really good launching point. A lot of times too, I would reach out. I did this the other day. I just said, okay, I actually have no idea what this word means. I found somebody on LinkedIn with that word in their job title, and I just reached out and I asked them to explain it to me. People are always willing to help, especially if they get credit for contributing. Yeah. Cool. Right. Looks like we're good with questions for now. So let's truck on. Just gonna breeze over the roles involved. This isn't for the purpose of like putting together a content team. Like, don't worry about that right now. But it's just to help you understand the different types of tasks that are involved in the process. So it takes a lot of hands to produce good content. So it's helpful to know how to do the process yourself, so you can understand just how your time is affecting other people's time or their work. So on the content, like on top of the content, you have a lead or a manager or producer, maybe a content strategist. This is somebody who is overseeing the strategy, but perhaps not actually, they're not the one that's actually typing or designing or recording the stuff. Then in the content, you have the people actually producing it, which would be a writer, a couple of writers, an editor. That could be a copy editor for written content, but it could also be an audio editor or video editor for other formats. You've got your designer, your graphic designer or your UX designer. You've got videographers. You've got a content manager. This is content manager is a bit of a catch-all, but generally a content manager is somebody who like pulls all the assets together and makes your thing be from a draft to a published piece. So they're kind of this content wrangler position. And then you've also got people that are sharing the content. So that would be roles that are more like social media, marketing, PR, and then the backlinking people who are, building links back. These are people who are more, working with the content once it's been published, but it's also helpful to have these things in mind as like from the very beginning, from making the post, understanding how your content is going to be useful to them later on down the line. So let's just take a look here at some of those skills that we need to do those roles well. There's some hard skills and some soft skills, or technical skills and emotional skills, however you want to say it. You're going to learn some of the hard skills in this course, definitely, like some writing, keyword research, SEO, bit of UX, analytics, definitely using tools. Using tools is a big part of the process. But then there are some traits that are going to help you a lot. Producing digital work can be really messy and uncertain. It's fun. You get to explore and discover a lot, but you do need patience and curiosity. You need really good listening skills, some prioritizing skills. You need that willingness to troubleshoot things, because you're always going to just kind of be figuring out how to hook something up or work around something. And finally, digital media is super vast. So you need to foster your ability to be decisive. You need to be able to decide on a purpose of something before you can see it. It doesn't exist yet. So you need a concrete idea or title to work with for what something should look like. So working with that ambiguity is a big part of the job. And yeah, that's your skill set. I'm sure that all of you already possess quite a few of these skills. I can see from your applications that you've developed a handful of these based on just, your hobbies that you said and the activities that you enjoy doing. So I would encourage you all to, rest assured you're going to move forward with definitely the foundation that you need to create good digital content. You're already on your way. So some takeaways from all the content that we've just covered here. Number one, there's definitely jobs out there. There's opportunities out there. If you're interested in content, you're in the right place. Content is a massive opportunity. We saw like 16,000 jobs. It's a great way to have a side hustle and also make a big impact. We're going to work with blogs because that helps you learn the process and principles. And it's just an important point. We've talked about how content is a means to an end. So it's not really about how much you produce or how many views it gets. It's really about serving a purpose and moving something forward in the real world. And I know that you're all able to do that because you all already possess a lot of those key skills that we talked about. And clearly you're here. So you're interested in developing the other set of key skills. So that's great. You're in a great starting point. Now we're at the stage where we're going to set ourselves up for the rest of the boot camp. So we're going to need to set ourselves up with a couple of tools. This is actually going to be the homework. I'm not going to walk through the setup, but you will need these tools for just about every step of the way in digital content. I don't know how many we use on a daily basis, maybe like 15. I don't know. So Ben's rolling his eyes. No idea.
A lot.
A lot. Yeah. Tools we don't even know we use. So these will make a really big difference. It's really important. So here's a little screenshot of the homework. But you'll actually find the handout up. You see that like thing in the corner that has the handouts? The PDF is there, and I can also email it out just in case you can't find it. And it'll also be in Mighty Networks once the proxy server is all set to go. So this is going to help you set up accounts on all the essential tools. I would encourage you to spend a few minutes on each site or watch the little like demo videos if you're unfamiliar with it, just to understand the purpose of the tool. There's also a list of the websites in our portfolio on there. I would encourage you to click around on the websites, and if you're able, just take a moment to make some notes for yourself, like who do you think this audience is? What is the purpose of this site in terms of serving the audience? Like what does it give to the audience? And so kind of helping get your brain flowing and get that understanding of why this initiative exists in the first place. Yeah, they're all free to use except for the keyword research tool, which is Moz, which we peeked at earlier. But we're going to use that tool because they have a free 30-day trial. So just what I've done is just set a reminder in your calendar to cancel, so that you're not charged for it after the bootcamp ends. Or if you love it, there you go. Then you've got a new tool. We got a question here from Melissa. Do I still need to use Canva? Oh, if you have graphic design skills, you do not need to use Canva. Like if you have Photoshop or something that you prefer using, go for it. Canva is just a really good tool for somebody who doesn't have any like paid design software. But if you've got Photoshop, that's totally fine.
Yeah. And Canva is also great for churning out graphics in different sizes and formats. It's quick.
No,
That's the beauty of it, really.
it's a game changer. I've got a couple. Oh, I've got a question from Angela. I don't think I got to. You need to start as a writer to move up to a content strategist position. It really depends. I hate giving that answer. But yeah, generally something with the word strategist in it, I would say that it's a little bit more advanced because you have to be more on top of that business strategy. At the same time, strategist is kind of conflated term. People like to use that to describe any role.
Yeah. I would just say that it's harder to be a strategist if you haven't got experience actually producing the content. So would I hire someone to be a strategist who hasn't got a big portfolio of content showing how they've applied strategy? Because as the strategist, you're the one creating the strategy, but then you're also the one evaluating whether or not that's successful. And I think that's hard to do if you haven't been able to prove and show yourself how you weave in that strategy into the content. So theoretically, yes, I think as Sarah says, you could do it, but I think it'd be very hard if you don't have that writing portfolio and experience.
Yeah. All right. We're going to wrap up because we're a little bit over the time. But yes, handout is up in the corner. I'm going to email it out afterwards for you folks. If you have any more questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. Other than that, I hope that this introduction kind of got you calibrated and oriented with what we're going to be doing, and that it's useful for you. We're going to be seeing you all on Wednesday at the same time at 9 a.m. I'll be sending out an invite for that shortly. And then I'll be seeing you on Friday as well. So this week we're gonna apply everything that we just looked at and start building some content. George is asking, when is the homework due? When do we send it? You don't have to send me anything. The homework is just for you to get set up for yourself. So make sure that you have those accounts made so that when we get started, you can be, in your accounts making stuff. You don't have to send anything. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, great. It's sounding like people are pretty set up to move forward. Please feel free to reach out on email or in Mighty Networks if you have any questions. We're always happy to answer.
Danielle is saying, is there a problem if I don't have access to the community?
I tried solving that this morning, but the server was down. I'm gonna touch base with you, Danielle, and make sure that you can get into that. Still missing the schedule and homework tab on my digital media. Oh, you're still missing that. Okay. You know what I'm gonna do? Maybe I should just create like a topic in Mighty Networks just in case.
Yeah.
It sounds like getting into the actual digital media bootcamp module is kind of problematic. Yeah. I'll create, what I'll do is create a topic because I think topics are more easy to find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Cool. Yay.
Cool. Thank you so much, Sarah. And thank you everyone for being engaged and watching today. It's good to get your feedback as well. So if you want to drop us a note, tell us what you liked, tell us what you didn't like, tell us what we should do more and less of. That would be super helpful. But yeah, thank you so much for being here. Good luck with your homework. It's not arduous at all. This is about setting yourself up for success so that you can get the rest of the boot camp underway. So yeah, good luck. Have a good rest of your day. And thanks for watching.
Bye.
Oops. Now I try and stop it.